All right, I'm gonna play it. Oh wait, hold on. The metronome's still on.
So it's going through your headphones, not through the speakers.
I can't hear this.
No, it's not.
I can't hear. Oh, I hear some screeching now. But now
It sounds like ass. Cut all of this.
I can't hear anything.
I didn't have a usable take yet, but
We got it.
We'll get it. We'll put it in post.
Let's jump into the intro. Welcome to week 10 tier talk of the I'm Open podcast. Again, I'm Ryan Lieberman, and I'm open.
I'm Joe. I'm going to be our Sam for the week, and I am also open.
And I'm Andrew, coming at you from sunny New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm very open today.
Yeah, and I'll give a brief recap of this past weekend. So our friend of the pod, rookie of the year frontrunner Everett Shapiro is on the Aviators, and he traveled to Colorado this weekend to take on the Summit, the undefeated Summit, still undefeated Summit. And Sam and I, oh boy, did we have a weekend. We went to the Summit game and we met a ton of new friends of the pod. Highlight of the weekend, and there were a ton of them, but highlight of the weekend is before the game starts, Cody Spicer is about to walk off the field, and I'm just like, big fan of Cody. So I'm like, hey, Cody, like, good luck out there tonight. And as he walks off, he goes, thanks, Ryan. I've never met Cody in my life, but that means he watches the pod, or somehow he knows me, or maybe I have met him. I don't know, but I was flabbergasted. Cody, if you're watching this episode, I would love to hang out sometime. Hit me up. I come to a lot of pickups out here, so maybe we could toss the disc around. But that was the big highlight of the weekend. Summit won. I didn't lose $600. We'll breeze past that. And
how much did you win? How much did you win?
$37. I had faith in this one.
Yeah, for that first half was a little scary, I bet.
But then whenever Shapiro goes down, we were fine.
I mean, yeah. If anything, this shows the rookie of his rookie of the year case even more. I mean, I know you and Sam were at the game, but for the entire fourth quarter, the announcers were just talking about Everest and how much the Aviators' offense changed once he went down.
Yeah, and I actually have some firsthand accounts from one of the defenders on the Summit, Sten Larson, big fan of big friend of the pod. I played pickup with him on Monday, and he was tasked to guard Everest, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, Everest, that great fucking player." Like I don't know if he said those words exactly, but he was like, as soon as Everest went down, like Aviators' offense just was totally different beast. So, yeah, Everest Shapiro.
We can get in. I'd love to get more in detail on the game, but before we do, I just want to acknowledge, like, I think it's super sick you guys were there. I was watching from afar. I was very jealous. Some highlights for me personally was Sam getting one of the Summit players to sign his Coors Light. That was pretty sick. I also love the stage.
Shout out Felix Pronov.
Yeah, Felix Pronov. Thanks for the engaging with our boys out there. And the can I say it was staged, the Nethercut jersey swap photo?
I mean, this is all on the AUDL.
I mean,
we asked Nethercut to do a jersey swap of these fresh new t-shirts, and he was like, I totally would, but they only give me one jersey, so if he would have jersey swap, he would have not been able to play. So that's on the AUDL. But he was
on the AUDL,
some kind of photo or whatever. It's up on our Twitter. Yeah,
I love that. Thought it was awesome. Yeah, you guys looked like you had fun. I was watching from afar, yelling at my laptop screen for them to pass to Everest more. So it was we all had a good time. But yeah, I mean, you guys, do you want to go into anything you did post game with any of the players, or is that not for on air?
I'll keep that under wraps, but let's just say Nickelback was involved.
Ooh, okay.
Got to be a friend of the pod to get that story. If you're
on the Aviators or Summit, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we'll move on after that.
Cool. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into the tier talk. I'm itching to talk some flat ball right now with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
What do we got, Joe? Where have we left us?
All right. Well, these are the tiers that we've been left with from our good dear friend of the pod, Pavel. If you remember from our tier 2 weeks ago, we had an Empire tier all to themselves. And then I believe the Union, the Summit, the Shred, the Breeze and the Flyers were all A tier. And since then, we've really expanded, added an extra tier, took away the Empire tier, and our F tier is cutthroat now. So we've got a lot to discuss. There were some very interesting games this week. Do we want to start bottom or do we want to start at the top?
Let's start bottom, and then we'll work our way to the more interesting tiers as we go. I say let's just go tier by tier, and let's just off the bat, if we think anything needs to be moved. F tier, do you guys see anything that needs to be moved? Did any of those teams beat any higher tier teams this past week? It looks like
yes, the Glory beat the Montreal Royal.
Glory beat the Royal.
Yeah, Glory beat the Royal 23-16. So yeah, not a very good game for the Royal, though. I must admit, did not watch that game. But I don't know, what do we think that means?
That's a tough one, because we Pavel put the Glory in the F tier specifically because of their kind of like roster management, and this was a home game for the Glory.
Yeah.
Shout out the Glory's Twitter for posting Kevin Durant in their game day lineup. That was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, they had some of their guys back. They're still missing some people, but if anything, maybe the Glory moves up to E tier, but I think after this week, I mean, the Royal had a tough showing playing against the Empire. So is it fair to move them down to E after such a big loss to, one of the best teams in the league? It was 24-19. I mean, the Empire doubled their score. Like that's
I'll propose an idea. Look, we always say like you can play yourself out of any tier. If you just beat a team that's 2 tiers ahead of you, supposedly, maybe that just means you're both kind of in the same tier. Maybe we move Glory to E and Montreal down to E, and then that kind of like explains what happened, basically. How do you guys feel about that?
I agree. I have a couple of thoughts. The first is, I think when we're talking about the Glory, we also have to talk about Toronto, because right now Toronto, Montreal, and Boston all have 4 wins in this East Division. And so I don't know, on one hand, like Toronto doesn't look very good very often, and the Glory also don't seem very good, but they're both 4-win teams. And we have, did Pavel put Ottawa in the E tier? Ottawa has 1 win. It doesn't feel super right to me to have Ottawa in E and both Toronto and the Glory in F, if the Glory just won.
Yeah, so, and Ottawa just lost to the Rush, so
it's sounding like Ottawa moving to F tier, Glory moved to E tier, Montreal moved to E tier.
Yeah. To me, that just makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me too. Also, yeah, Toronto and Ottawa just played. Yeah, Toronto won by 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, Ottawa, get out of here.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. This is me. Hold on, my bad. I forgot. Are we moving them both up?
No. Rush can stay.
Rush stays. Ottawa Rush down. Stays. Montreal down.
Montreal down. Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Like that. Other than, I think that was the only game where lower tier beat a top tier. We can kind of like now go game by game and look at like changes. I mean, I think the meat of this conversation is the Windchill Union game.
Yes.
Yeah. This weekend, I really, really hate messing up the bum, but the Windchill are definitively better than the Union. I know it doesn't spell bum, but if we want to be a serious podcast and cutthroat, we got to make tough decisions. What are you guys thinking about splitting up the bum?
Yeah, we have to.
I'm in favor. I'm in favor of splitting the bum. I mean, do you mean just moving Windchill up, like right below Breeze, maybe, or even ahead?
I don't know. I mean, Pavel created this A tier with Flyers and Shred, and like for me, I don't think the Windchill are on the same tier as the Flyers, and honestly, the whole Shred, like I don't know, like their only losses are to the Summit, who an S tier, like when you're talking about different divisions, like for all I know, the Windchill could be better than the Shred. Like I would love to see that game. Like I know it's tough with travel, but I would love to see more like interconference games. Like who doesn't want to see the Summit play the Windchill right now, or the Breeze play the Shred? Like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would definitely be helpful for our tier alignment situation.
For sure.
I also think like, Pavel, you know, the friend of the pod, Pavel Giannis, gave us these tiers, but we don't have to adhere to it. You know, he might know a lot more than we do, but you know, we have a podcast and he doesn't. So, you know, if we want to move some things around, you know, it'll create more engagement, and maybe some other very good players will be angry at us and come on our pod and talk to us.
Yeah, here's what I say. I mean, do we want to move Union down? Like, look, I don't know. I mean, they just lost to a team in the B tier they lost to Windchill by 3 points. Do we let a team stay on the same tier as another if they lose by 3?
Oh, actually, but also should we shout out our Twitter friend Ish, who wanted a shout out because he's been talking about the Union for some weeks now. He wanted us to say something along the lines of ultimate analyst Ish Lukey seemed to be right about Union losing to the first title contender they play. How fraudulent is this team? So
Ish, I'm with you, man.
Honestly, with that take from front of the pod Ish, especially now front of the pod Ish, I think we move down to C tier, maybe even F. I don't know, getting crazy out here, but
I will say that, like, I don't think they're a top tier team, but I also don't think that they're equivalent to like the Alley Cats.
You can't give up on the Alley Cats.
If anything, should we move some teams up and leave Union where it is to redefine these levels, which is kind of like taking them down?
It's tough.
Man,
God, if anything, did the Alley Cats play this weekend? Yeah, they played. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they won a tight one.
All right. I know, like, you know, we're not who we used to be. We used to be like, all right, if you win a game, you can't go down. If you lose a game, you can't go up. But the Alley Cats played Pittsburgh, who's an E-tier team, and they barely won by 2 points at home.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking a Union Alley Cats one level down. Like Union goes to C, Alley goes to D.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Okay.
Joe, go ahead and move it. And I'll say another point in favor.
You can put Alley at the top of D. I think the teams in C, right, like the Alley Cats, kind of like when we were talking about moving the Union down, I was like, I don't know if the Union and the Alley Cats are on the same level, but Philadelphia's playing well, Austin's playing well, the Growlers, and they've got everyone. I mean, Dunn's a freak, he's so good. So I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say Philly had a great game this weekend.
Yeah, that game was so fun to watch.
They got a ton of breaks against DC. They lost by 1 off of, I mean, it just came down to who had the last possession pretty much, it seemed like. And DC just had the upper hand just ever so slightly, and controlled that clock all the way to the end. So credit to them for winning the game. But Philly had a great game. I think C tier is good. I mean, look at these teams in the C tier.
Yeah.
These are all solid teams.
Like, I think it's like C tier is like you're making the playoffs, you know, and it's like it's like the top 3 tiers are like, you know, playoff. Like I would put money on them to win it all, you know, but like C tier, it's like if you chip in a chair, you're in the playoffs, you got a shot, but you know, I don't expect them to make it the championship weekend.
Fair. Cool. Yeah. So we kind of touched on a lot of games there. Is there anything else we've got going here? I will say it doesn't spell bum, but we still have BM going there. So
that is pretty funny. I mean,
it's some consolation for me.
We've kind of jumped from F tier straight to B tier. So let's clean house with B tier. Let's talk about the Hustle Carolina game, which Carolina won 18-16, a very low scoring game in Carolina.
All these games have been low scoring, which is really interesting to me. But I think that's a what's the word? That's just because Carolina just works the disc. They're not gonna, be this super high turnover, high scoring team, maybe like the Shred. So it's kind of interesting to see these two teams that have really different approaches in the same tier. But yeah, I think these two teams, Atlanta and Carolina, both value the disc a ton, and their games aren't super high scoring, but they're both really solid teams. And yeah, I don't know. Atlanta just doesn't seem to have an answer for Carolina. And I was watching towards the end, they had a chance actually to, I think, tie it, or they're about to get a break with time winding down, and they just were a little bit too tired. There was like a lazy throw, like just taking a shot in the end zone, hoping that someone would come down with it. It just looked like they were gassed just because of how long those Carolina O points are. So that D line for Atlanta was just like, kind of threw up a uncharacteristic throw at the end, kind of when it mattered the most. And yeah, I think it's just, credit to Carolina. Their offense just will grind you down, and yeah, very low scoring game. Very interesting to see. But yeah, I think I'm happy with both those teams where they're at in our tier list. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was an A-tier team, kind of, close game against a B-tier team. Like, honestly, I want to see the Hustle beat the Flyers in the championship, or not in the championship, in the playoffs. I think that'd be pretty cool, but I don't know if they have it. I mean, Flyers are good, man.
Yeah, I kind of totally agree with you. Also, like, just to go further on your point, Carolina had 350 attempts, throw attempts, and the Hustle had 222.
Wow.
I mean, that's a crazy difference for a single game. Like, when you get one or two more possessions than somebody, depending on who gets the end of the quarter, more times. And so to have like 130 almost more attempts, and also on a high, they were 95% compared to the Hustle 91% completion. Like, that's so impressive. Yeah, no, I think the Hustle showed that they're a solid B-tier team. I'd love to see them in the playoffs against Carolina. I mean, I don't really think they will beat them, but Pavel does, so I guess that means something.
Yeah,
I just disagree with that. I just think Carolina, you look at the two teams, and I think if Atlanta had what it took to beat Carolina, I've seen it by now. We would have seen that happen, but they've played each other, what is it, 3 times now? And it's just been the same thing every time. And I don't know what they have to do differently to beat Carolina, but I don't know. I don't see them beating them this year, just given what the rosters they have. But yeah, I think, unless any of you guys have anything more on this, do you want to maybe talk about the Aviators? Are we cool with where our tiers are at, S through C, basically, I guess?
I'm gonna say yeah. I mean, maybe we bump Phoenix up like a little bit in the C tier because they played a great game against the Breeze, but I don't know, they play again for their next game. So, if Philly can't actually beat the Breeze this time, like, we'll talk about bumping them up. But I honestly think probably Breeze are going to win by more this time. The last game was in Philly. Breeze threw more turnovers than they usually do. They got delayed like an hour and a half because of terrible conditions. And honestly, the Breeze defense looked better than it had, despite, just a sloppy game overall. But yeah, I mean, I think the Breeze are like kind of clearly the better team, even though it came down to the wire. And so I guess we'll just see in their matchup next week. But yeah, so I'm good with that if we want to go Aviators.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, maybe if you want to bump them up and bump the Growlers down or something.
Yeah, did the Growlers play this week?
I don't think they did.
Growlers didn't. Did they?
I don't think so.
No. Yeah, Growlers get bumped just for not playing.
Yeah, we don't like when you don't play. We know it's not your fault, but
we just bumped them to the back just because they didn't play a game.
Yeah. Well, I think I mean, the Soul
won by like 10.
Yeah.
To Dallas, but
it's less about the Growlers being bad and more about like let's give Philly some acknowledgement that they took it B tier team to the last second, basically.
Yeah.
So let's talk
game,
Aviators.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the other game to talk about. I mean,
yeah,
S tier team playing a D tier team, kind of beat them down. I mean, it was a really close game in the first half. Both teams kind of had really key injuries. On the Summit side, rookie Alex Atkins goes down after making honestly the most insane D I've seen in the AUDL this year. He literally had to run straight behind the guy, and he somehow made a layout D without like making contact, and it's just like it's the most acrobatic. Like I hope the AUDL can. I was looking all day if they're really gonna post it on Twitter. Like it's so sick.
Yeah, agreed. On that D, it was probably one of the more athletic plays I've seen this year. Like you said, how he was able to avoid contact and he just got up. It was disgusting. Really, really sucks that it looks like he got injured on the play, but it was kind of cool that you guys had that the live on field reporting there, getting it straight from the horse's mouth, talking to Alex on the sideline. That was pretty funny. So hopefully he's okay. He's one of the more exciting players in the Summit, so it would really, really suck to see him go down. They're definitely going to need him.
He seemed to be okay. He came back in the second half for a point. He wasn't going full speed, and I think they just kind of shut him down because they didn't need him to play. Like, he wasn't going full speeds, and the Summit's kind of got like really deep players on both sides of O and D. So I think he'll be fine. He seemed to be in high spirits for what it was. Competitive though, like he did not want to sit out. You could tell he was kind of pissed. Like he kind of has that heart of like, if I can contribute to this team, like I need to contribute. So that was kind of cool to see. And then on the Aviator side, I mean, guy we haven't talked enough, Ever Shapiro, leading his team to a tie ball game going into half. He goes down on what would you say, a fluke injury, just kind of rolled his ankle pretty badly with no one around him. Ayla, you saw a pretty good shot of it.
Yeah, I had a couple thoughts on that. We saw earlier in the season when Nethercut just kind of was like, it was in the Shred Summit game, that first game, and he got confused, I think, with the lines on the field, and he caught the disc out of bounds, and it was like, what is he doing? What are we thinking? And part of me was like, all those lines can probably get confusing. And if Nethercut can make a mistake like that, then I think that really says something. And to me, it looked like Everest was way in bounds, but there were two lines, and the one that was closer was more solid, and then the one that was further away was like fainter, like the actual out of bounds line. And it looked like he could just go straight up and down, and it would have been fine. But I think he maybe thought he had to toe it in because of that kind of errant line that was there. That's kind of what it looked like in real time, and I need to rewatch the play, but it kind of looked like the field kind of reared its ugly head again with those like lines going on, and it really, really sucks that would have anything to do with a player getting injured. I'll need to rewatch and decide for sure if that's what happened, but that's kind of what it looked like to me. Didn't it look like he didn't have to toe it in, and maybe that's why he rolled his ankle?
He was in the far corner, and we were in the first row, so it's kind of hard to see from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say from the broadcast that is kind of what it looked like. Just like it was a confusing going down. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that they have to play on fields like this. I was just rewatching the Toronto Ottawa game because I was kind of intrigued by the All Canada matchup. First of all, what a mistake that was to rewatch that game. But second of all, their lines were also pretty confusing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like good maybe to be Portland and play in a soccer stadium just because there are fewer lines in general, and like as opposed to like a football or like a lacrosse stadium. But yeah, I feel bad for Shapiro.
For sure. With all that being said, I mean, I don't know if the Aviators weren't moving down. When we're talking about C, D, E, F tiers, it's kind of like them playing each other, and I think they're a step above Cascades and the Nitro. But not with Shapiro off the field. I mean, if we're looking at them in the future without Shapiro, like if he he sent us over kind of a video of his foot, and it looks like it's either broken or severely sprained. So if he's gone for the rest of the season, I mean, F tier. And without that guy, they don't stand a chance.
Yeah, I was really like I've been saying this all season. There's the Aviators with him and without Everest. And I mean, if this game wasn't just like confirming that 100%, you saw them tied at half with an S tier team. And I know like a lot of our Everest hype is like we're his friends, we're extremely biased, and you know we're going to talk about him a ton. But I mean, look at the Aviators, and he was such a factor. He led the team in goals that game, and he only played one half, right? So
he was tied with Fruit, I think, for goals in the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, post game, like I was talking to like Summit players. I mean, there was a bunch of Summit players that were like, I mean, you guys talk about him, but he's good. Like he's making a huge impact on the field. So it's not just the shenanigans that we're pushing. Like there is definitely something going on with Everett Shapiro, and he should be in talks for, if not for rookie of the year, but first team rookie. He's making a huge impact for that team.
Yeah, definitely.
He's fun to watch. You can see the impact that he's making.
I think there was an argument to be made if he didn't get injured for the Aviators to move up if they didn't necessarily win, but like let's say they lost by like a goal or 2 goals, or I mean I would even hear it out if they lost by like 3 to potentially move them up. I mean, like let's look at the teams ahead of them. We know the Growlers have played the Summit. Like if they beat this, or if they lost to the Summit by a smaller margin, I think there's an argument to put them in C tier, and that would have been exciting. But unfortunately, obviously, Evers got injured, and yeah, they were just kind of a different team in that second half, and I don't think we can really talk about that. I mean, they've got to stay in D tier, in my opinion. But
yeah. They've also lost to the Growlers twice this year, so I don't know about moving them up to C tier. I think D tier is pretty good for them.
Yeah, that's got to be where they're going to be for now. Anything else? I mean, like, did Madison do anything that would warrant?
Madison didn't play this week, which is I'm intrigued to see what they do next week. I think they're a team that's like on the radar to make it out of the D tier, to play out of it, because I mean, I don't know. Was their last game like losing 11-22 to the Windchill? Like, hopefully they come out like wanting a win a little bit more than that, because I don't think they're D tier, but I don't know. I also think about like the Union and like probably the Soul, and I feel like the Rascals aren't as good, but I don't know. Let me see who they play next week.
Yeah. And the only other games that we haven't really discussed is just like, you know, the Soul beating up on the Legion, which everyone expected for that to happen. Yeah. I mean, do we want to talk about the Windchill playing the Mechanics?
I mean, 33, that's impressive.
33-19. I mean, back-to-backs, like
we also
back-to-back, the Mechanics didn't stand a chance.
We haven't even mentioned that the Empire did double up the Royal 29-14 also.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that at the front of the pod, and it was just like, that makes sense. Like, so we talked about that, and then we moved the Royal down.
We've got a Windchill Rascals rematch this coming. It's their Sunday game.
Yeah, I'm expecting the Windchill to take that. I don't think the Windchill will lose a game for the rest of the year. That's my take. Or well, come playoff time. I don't think they'll lose a game in the regular season. Let's see who they play.
That's probably not even that hot of a take.
No, I mean their only tough competition is going to be the Union in 2 weeks, which I think is going to be a great game.
In Minnesota.
Yeah, give me a Windchill, because then they play Alley Cats, Mechanics, plus the Rascals this upcoming week. Yeah, I think so. That would put the Windchill for 11-1. I mean, going into the championship weekend with the third best record. Granted, with the Empire and the Summit not dropping a game.
So let's say the Union beat the Alley Cats next week, and Minnesota beats the Rascals next week. We've got Rascals Alley Cats the week after, and the Alley Cats will be up by 1 game on them.
Wow.
Yeah. So that'll be a very interesting matchup. But I mean, Alley Cats have Union, Rascals, Windchill, Hustle to end the season. So even if I don't know, I guess if they beat the Alley Cats, they got 2 games on them with 2 left to go.
So it's kind of going to be.
Yeah, I don't know what the tiebreak situation is. Is it head to head?
Could be. I would assume. I mean, I don't know, but we're talking. So it'd be Alley Cats, Rascals, kind of for that last playoff spot in the Central.
Yeah,
that'd be fun to watch.
I mean, unless Pittsburgh makes some kind of fun rush.
I don't know. I mean, they get. I don't know. Maybe they're kind of in the mix, but not really.
They play the Mechanics next, but then they've got the Flyers and the Union to end their season. So they probably got to win all 3 of those to make the playoffs.
Yeah, there's no way.
That doesn't feel too likely.
Since it seems like we're kind of finished talking about the games from this week, do we want to maybe try on? There was one thing I saw on Twitter. It was in the Windchill Rascals game. I think, or not Rascals, Windchill Union game. There was a Minnesota player who scored and then was knocking over the signs. I saw Adam Ruffner posted a video on Twitter, and then I think he just posted it like, "Oh, haha, look how goofy this is." And then someone commented like, "This is, this is really disrespectful." He's like, people spend a lot of time setting up the stadiums, and this kind of sucks to see. And then that got like a ton of traction, it seemed. Where do you guys kind of stand on that whole debacle?
Let me pull it up right now so I know you guys are talking about.
I think it looked like if no one had said anything, I probably just would have scrolled past it and thought, oh, haha, whatever. But yeah, maybe they have a point. Maybe don't trash the sideline, or if you're gonna do it, maybe go pick it up after, which is also, that's kind of lame, but takes away from your celebration. So maybe don't do it in the first place. But I guess that's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, this was it.
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, Aaron Weaver, huge fan of the pod. I love his response. Curious the context. He commented, I'm also quite curious the context. Like, looking at this video, it's kind of like, oh, this guy's being a dick, but like, I don't know, maybe the Union players went to the Windchill Stadium and knocked over their signs. Is this like a response? There's got to be some context that we're missing. So I don't want to give my opinion just based off this video. So that's my political response, PC response.
Very, very political answer. I don't know. I feel like don't knock over the signs, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if they spent all this time putting them up, I don't know. Maybe it's contractual. They got to be up. Maybe the AUDL gets sued because of this.
I think there's cooler things you can do, like when the dude on was it the Soul went and drank the beer after he scored. That was awesome. I think. Yeah, I think it's maybe a mix of like, you did that. I didn't think it was that bad, but clearly people who are involved with doing that didn't like that. So I think their opinion maybe holds more weight than mine. But I do think, there's way cooler stuff you could do. Yeah. I thought the beer thing was cool. Anything interacting with the fans. Do you guys remember when it was like the college nationals semifinal, the like Jack Williams game when they beat Darkside, UNC Wilmington, and like the dude who caught the winning goal was like high-fiving people. He caught it, ran, and was like taking pictures with people, and so like that to me, that's the coolest kind of stuff to do after you score. But I feel like we covered everything. What else we got?
I think Sam wanted to talk about Matt Guccio-Hannes and how he's got negative 334 receiving yards. So Sam, out with a back injury, couldn't be here. Got to give that little shout out because
that's impressive.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I love negative receiving yards. That's so cool. But yeah, other than that, I think we got a pretty good. Not a lot changed in our tier list.
No, I mean, this late in the season, it's good to not have that much change.
Yeah. I think Breeze and Windchill, if they could dominate sometime soon, I think they're pretty eligible to move up probably. But yeah, I don't know. I'm liking this tier list.
Yeah. I guess that's it. Let's sign off. I'm open.
I'm so open. Thanks for listening, y'all. Peace out.